Waiters and waitresses of restaurants that offer crayons to children. What's the weirdest thing you've seen a child draw? Not a waitress, but I was in a bar that acted as a community cafe in the day, so the walls were decorated with children's drawings, mostly pages from coloring books. There was one freehand picture among the badly scribbled in Elsa and Spider-Man. It was of a blobby full-egged potato man with the word no written in large crooked letters above it. Then I flipped the drawing over and, in the same handwriting, just the word die. It really tickled me. Imga, if you're curious. I kept the picture for a long time. A 6-7-year-old girl drew me pictures of the separate components of blood, red and white cells, platelets, plasma. It was super cool, but different. Sounds like that kid's going places. Sometimes kids will just really latch onto something. She's lucky it's something useful. My cousin was all about subway maps when he was like 4. His idea of a perfect day would be to ride on the subway all day. Sounds like that kid's going places too. When I was about 7, I wrote my home phone number on the table because I thought the waitress was cute. She called the number thinking my dad wrote it. Note, don't know how she mixed up a 7-year-old's handwriting with a 40-year-old. My mom answered the phone and accused my dad of cheating. After hearing them yell at each other for a while, I finally told them the truth. Needless to say, they still laugh about it / at me to this day. Your dad had the all clear after that. Little did he know, his parents were fighting about a different crayon phone number. Yeah, kid gave him cover his story, so he went back and banged the shit out of the waitress. A family brought some extremely loud toys with them to a nice restaurant, macaroni grill / cheesecake factory style. Patrons around them complained because they had 3 kids who each had 1 or 2 extremely loud toys, car with a police siren, kids megaphone / microphone, kids boombox with animal sounds, etc. My manager came over and offered to relocate them. They refused. He gave them a free appetizer, but said they would have to put the toys away. Kids proceeded to draw at least 5 pictures of my manager getting murdered by jungle cats, tanks, game of hangman, death incarnate and some other random stuff. When they left the pictures on the table. My manager proceeded to show every employee in the restaurant, all the while laughing himself to death. We got them framed for him for Christmas, while laughing himself to death. So their plan worked. Not weird but memorable. When I was a waiter in college, I had a table of 2 that consisted of mom in her mid to late 30s and her 9-year-old son. The kid had a set of markers and a sketch pad, and he was writing what I thought was nickname as a graffiti tag over and over. It was D-nice. Honestly, the kid was pretty talented for a 9-year-old, and I complimented him on his artistic flair and asked his name, thinking his was a D name like Derek or David or something, but he said it was Brett. So I asked what his tag stood for then, and he said it was because his mom's name was Denise, and D-nice was his tag as a tribute to her because he loved her. I thought that was awesome. I'll never forget Brett, and hope he tagged his mom's name all over the place when he got older. Family of 8 sitting next to me. The kid drawing is a chubby toddler making noises while scribbling on his paper kids menu. His mom asks him, "What are you drawing, sweetie?" and he replies in this old manish rasp, "Gotta draw my own damn milkshake because it's taking too long." The family lost it while the mom scolded him. Reminds me of my grandpa, who would always say this would be a nice place to open a restaurant whenever the food took a while. Not really kids, but a couple of teenagers, and it was of 5 guys. 2 people came in and ordered, looking clearly out of it, like they were stoned or on something, and later we found one of the index cards that said, "I've been up for 5 days on meth, and I ate a 5 Guys burger and felt okay." I call that a decent review. I mean, if your burgers were so good that they outshined the meth, those must be damn good burgers. And now I regret never going to 5 Guys even more. One time this really sweet little girl said she drew me a picture and not to look at it until she left. It was folded up on the table. So I walk over after she leaves, and she wrote in crayon really big, "You are Gail Fail." I died laughing and kept it. It reminds me of when my sister was 6 and I, a girl, introduced her to my girlfriend. She looked at her with a very puzzled face and asked me, "Is your girlfriend lesbian too?" Lol, that was precious. Not a waitress but the parent. My daughter drew a dolphin and whale swimming together. Looked like 2 penises having an arm wrestling match. Edit. Of course my highest rated comment is about phallic sea creatures. They were just swordfish fighting. Edit. Please don't upvote me anymore. I don't want my top comment to be a penis related pun. Edit 2. You fuckers. Edit 3. Thanks for the gold, but also damn it. Unrelated but still a cute story. I was in the waiting area of a local Mexican restaurant for my very late date to show up. I was dinking around on my phone when the only other person in the room, a little girl of around 4, started talking to me. Her mom was a server there, and her dad was a cook. She hung out in that waiting area, kind of like a small living room, and colored when her parents worked the same shift. At one point, I saw her scribble a name at the top, and sprint off to the kitchen saying, "I'm going to give this to someone. Watch my stuff." I did. She came back a minute later, dragging her feet and still holding the ripped out page of her coloring book. She said she already has too many from today. She said sullenly. "Well, I didn't get one yet," I replied. "Oh. What's your name?" She put her crayon down to the page, as if to write my name, but must have gotten impatient, since she crossed out the other name, and handed it to me. She was so proud she went and told the original recipient that the picture found a home. My date arrived as the little girl came back, so I said goodbye and tucked the picture away to avoid the mole sauce. I still have the picture somewhere. TL. Doctor received a masterpiece. This is so wholesome. Funnily enough, the answer immediately below this one is penises. There is a fish and chips shop near where I live called Dick's Fish and Chips, and it encourages kids to draw on the plasmids. The best ones are then displayed on the walls. A couple of my favorites are the ones which express their love for the restaurant. I love Dick's. And nothing like a feed of Dick's. The owners are really old and don't get the reference, which makes it all the more hilarious. I wouldn't discredit the elderly. They are quite capable of having a dirty mind and have fewer fucks to give. Right. They know exactly what things mean. They were our age once. Like, I'm not going to have my 60th birthday and then suddenly forget every swear word I know. Not at a restaurant, but my GF's daughter made a pretty interesting drawing the other day and hung it on the fridge. It was a stick figure holding what appeared to be a severed head in one hand, complete with a smiley face, and what appeared to be a neck hanging off. I saw it and asked her to tell me about it. Turns out the severed head was actually an ice cream cone. Reminded me that kids see this world entirely different than adults. Lol. It's an ice cream cone. Oh, nice. What flavor is it? Severed human head flavor. Not a waiter, just a food enthusiast. Once on my way out of a restaurant, I walked by a family that had a little dude like maybe 7-ish, and he was putting the finishing touches on the Wu-Tang logo drawn in yellow crayon on his kid's menu sheet. Awesome kid. At least, it looked like the Wu-Tang logo. I choose to believe that's what he was drawing. Kid just wants everyone to know he can't be fucked with. Parent, not server, but my 6-year-old son has drawn pictures of our waitresses and given them to our servers on multiple occasions. He always draws them with big eyes, long lashes, and a happy smile. When he gives them to our server, he always compliments them on something. Their hair, their jewelry, the color of their nails, etc. TLDR, my son has more swagger at 6 than I've had my whole life. Late to the thread, but in high school worked at a breakfast restaurant named after Humpty Dumpty. Had a kid artistically rendition a Humpty coloring page into what he titled Crackhead Humpty, complete with a pipe and bloodshot eyes. A bit of a masterpiece really. Schultz framed it. I've been waiting for a thread just like this to post my cute encounter. An adorable little girl came up to me and asked for empty pictures. It took me a while to realize that she meant blank papers. I had to take a moment to get myself back together because the concept of her thinking that the papers were pictures which hadn't been drawn yet almost brought me to tears. AWW sounds like something Bob Ross would say. There was a coloring page that was of a little girl holding a dog. The little girl who colored it in, who is 4, drew a rope around the girl's neck, and the only color she put on the girl was making her face purple. We still have it hung up behind the bar out of the sight of customers. Sometimes I look at the picture and worry about that little girl, sometimes I just laugh. I was a hostess. A 9-year-old kid drew himself as a pizza chef with "Give me my fucking seat" lovingly written next to it. I think I have it on my computer somewhere. Haha. Edit. Couldn't find the original, but here is a screenshot of the IG post I made back then. Ignore the shitty filter and quality. IG was fairly new in 2013, I think.
Thanks for watching.
Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to be entered into our iMac giveaway.